Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist and I own 52 units of real estate. So I had a great question in the comments asking, how are you able to obtain 30-year financing on your apartments? I thought only commercial financing would be available for those. So let me break this down. So for single family homes, people have 30-year fixed loans for the most part, and this is your conventional loan, right? So you're 30 years fixed. So for example, on my single family home that I house hacked, I have a 30-year 2.75% interest rate that's fixed and locked for 30 years. The rate never changes. However, when you go to multifamily, so this is 5+ units commercial real estate, the loans look a little bit different. So my loan is amortized over 30 years, right? However, the interest rate is only fixed for about 10 years, right? So you can do different windows. So it can be fixed for 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 7 year, 10 year. So if you have it fixed for 10 years, the interest rate is going to be higher versus if it's fixed for like 1 year, it's going to be lower because interest rates change, right? So for me, I typically want the fixed interest rate to be between 7 and 10 years to give me cushion in case interest rates were to spike up, right? And if interest rates continue to go down, I can always refinance. So typically they have like a 10-year balloon where you're kind of forced to refinance, and either interest rates lower, hopefully, or it goes up, right? So I typically lock in 7 to 10 years, and I kind of monitor the market to see how interest rates are. And based on that, I would do a cash out refinance, right? So the difference is with single family homes, it's fixed for 30 years and amortized over 30 years. For apartments, I have it amortized over 30 years, right? But the interest rate's only fixed for 10 years. So it could change in 10 years, right? It's not the same for all 30 years. So that's the one key distinction, right? Is for commercial, you have a 10-year window, right? Maybe a 1, 3, 5, 7, or 10-year window. And depending on how long you pick, your interest rate will vary. Like I said, the longer the term, so if it's 10 years, your interest rate's going to be higher versus if it's 1 year, interest rate's going to be lower, right? So that's one key distinction. Another key distinction is typically, multifamily loans, they can be amortized not over 30 years, but they can be 25 years or even 20 years. And it depends on the lender, right? A lot of local community banks like to amortize it over 20 years. So what does that mean? If a loan's amortized over 20 years, your monthly payments can be higher versus if you're amortized over 30 years, your monthly payments can be lower, right? So typically when I do commercial real estate, they'll quote you all of it, right? If you're amortized over 25 years and you lock in, like, let's just say a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 7 year, 10 year, they'll tell you the interest rate and breakdown for all of those. If you want to amortize over 30 years and you want 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 7 year, 10 years, they'll give you interest rate breakdowns for all of those. So you can make, and the monthly cost, so you can make the decision that makes the most sense for you, right? So for me, I typically try to lock in 7 to 10 years personally on my loans because I just want to know that it's locked for a long period of time, so I have that sense of stability, right? And then obviously I'm gonna do a value add strategy and then do a refinance, right? And keep in mind, with commercial financing, there's more likely to have prepayment penalties, right? So if you pay off your loan early or you refinance early, they might charge you 1% of your loan amount, 2%, 3%. And sometimes they have a scale, right? Like for for BMO, for my 26 unit, like the first year it's like 3% prepayment, second year is 2%, third year is 1%, fourth year is 1%, fifth year is 1%, and it goes on to 1% until year 10, right? So you have to keep in mind of what the prepayment penalty looks like. So this is why commercial loans are a little more complicated, right? So amortization, you can have 20-year, 25-year, 30-year, right? So just know if you're amortized over 20 years, your monthly payment's higher versus 30 years. On top of that, you have it. The interest rate can be fixed for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. If you have it fixed at 10 years, your interest rate's higher typically, versus if you're 1 year, interest rate's lower. On top of that, you have a prepayment penalty, which can vary year by year. So you want to ask for the breakdown. Year 1, it could be a 5% prepayment. Year 2, it's 4%. Year 3, it goes down to 2. And so down. So it's like a step down scale. So you have to know exactly what your exit strategy is, right? But typically you have a 1% prepayment penalty is typical. So that's another thing. And so that's what makes commercial real estate a little bit more complicated, but not that much more, right? So, and keep in mind, if with single family homes, you can get 10 conventional loans. And by 10 conventional loans, it means that you can get 10 good 30-year fixed loans. But if you buy a lot of single family homes, eventually you run out of those conventional loans and you're going to portfolio lenders or kind of private money lenders. And at that point, they might make you do a 10-year fix or have a prepayment penalty, right? It starts to become more like a commercial loan, right? So those are the key distinctions, right? So for me, obviously, if you can, lock in those conventional loans, right? If you have a high income W-2 and you don't mind working, max out your conventional loans, because once you go commercial loans, they're not as good, right? They're not going to be as good and they're more variable. So that's what I kind of do. So hopefully this answers your question. Let me know if you have any other questions. Love the question. If you're interested in joining the mentorship program and buying your first multifamily deal with some guidance, check out the mentorship program. Otherwise, let me know if you have any questions. Please share this video with somebody who can find value from this, and like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much.